Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2024 Ford Mustang Ecoboost Coupe Premium. This vehicle is sitting on 255/40 Pirelli performance tires, wrapped around 19-inch alloy wheels with a gloss gray finish. It also has a high-performance Brembo braking system with oversized ventilated rotors on all four wheels. The name of this color is Iconic Silver Metallic. And these type of silvers look really good on performance cars, in my opinion. I had a Challenger that was similar type silver, and it looked really nice. So here in the front, it has the Mustang there in the middle of the emblem, looking really cool. Now this front end is fairly sleek looking. It does have some design elements, but it seems like they cleaned it up quite a bit. And when it senses the key, it'll start pulsating lights. That's what you're seeing right now, which is pretty cool. You see that in my night video. I show how the front lights and the back lights pulsate when you walk up to it with the key. So down here is the sensor for the radar adaptive cruise control. All this is a flat black. There's no gloss black up here. And it has a multi-projector headlight system. And it does pretty well. So once again, check out the night video. Now that flat black that we saw here at the base extends here on the side of the vehicle as well. It's kind of subtle if you don't look for it, but it kind of gives the vehicle the shape, you know, kind of squeezes that part right in there. You still have it in the back, but it has a flat bottom, but you can see that the kind of contours a little bit, giving it a little bit more of a curvature. So it has body colored handles, side mirrors. Really like the blue, Ford blue Brembo calipers on the vehicle. It looks really nice. This is what the key looks like, and it's a pretty traditional Ford key. They've used this for a while now. It has the Mustang on the other side. It has the lock, unlock, remote start, the ability to pop the trunk, and a panic button there. It's kind of a bulky, heavy key, but that's just the way these Ford keys are typically. But it's the type that all you have to do is put your finger over that sensor to lock it, that little lock right there, sensor. And to unlock it, you simply put your hand behind the handle. So it's pretty basic. And then it has the physical key location here on the driver's side only. The inside of the passenger door is pretty much everything in this vehicle is black. Okay, so it does have some contrast stitching and some metallic aluminum accents basically, but most everything's black. You can see the stitching here. This is like a vinyl type material all in here. This is like a rubbery soft type material around the outside. Here on the top, but at the bottom is the hard touch. So yeah, and then this is like a carbon fiber style plastic surface. It's a hard plastic, but it has that surface texture that looks similar to carbon fiber. And you have the pocket there at the bottom. This is open, so you can't really put anything in there. It's not like a pocket, it's just a handle. And then this is this compartment is kind of basically only useful for an umbrella because it goes way up in here, so you can put a big umbrella in there, but it's not really that handy for putting like water bottles or stuff like that in there. And whatever you put in there is going to slide around because it's smooth plastic on the inside. So there's the illuminated Mustang seal plate. You see that in the night video, what it looks like at night. Then you have heated and ventilated seats. So it's a 3-stage heated and 3-stage cooled seat. Look really nice with the contrast stitching, and they have a lot of stitching. A lot of stitching here, here, here. Looking really nice. Nice open perforations there at the bottom and the back. And fairly comfortable seats. They're not like the Recaros where they were like really squeezy or anything. They're fairly open and fairly comfortable. So there's legroom here, and this is a soft material here, so if your leg touches it, it's not a big deal. This is a hard touch though. It does have a locking glove compartment. Pretty good size. We have more of that contrast stitching, and it looks like a silver color contrast stitching and a French design here, kind of rubbery soft. We have more of that simulated carbon fiber material there, and then a rubbery soft non-reflective dash. It does have back seats, and the seats have map pockets on the back of them, but you have to really put the front seats way forward in order to utilize these back seats. As you see, there's like no legroom there. But it does have the latch system for car seats. And so you could put a car seat back here. There's a little place right there to attach it. And it has a lot of bolstering. It's like a huge bucket seat, basically, that you're sitting in. So they probably would be fairly comfortable. It's just, you know, no legroom. It's not, I mean, it's just that type of vehicle, you know. Take a look at the back of the vehicle. It has a body-colored shark fin antenna here. And right below that is the third brake light there at the top of the glass. There is a pretty neat Decklid spoiler. Kind of sleek and not sticking up too much. And back here, we don't have that big, remember before they used to have that big simulated gas cap right there. But basically we just have the Mustang running. And right above it is the backup camera, which is a fantastic location. It's up here, high, away from the tag, in the center position, and integrated into the style of the vehicle. So excellent place for a backup camera. The taillights are LED, and they pulsate when you walk up to them with the key, and I also have this little animation they go through when you put the turn signal on. So there actually are sequential turn signals. I know that term is a little bit overused, but these are actually applied to that term. It does have a quad exhaust, which is kind of interesting. So considering it's a 4-cylinder, it does need a lot of airflow. There's a lot of airflow through that little 4-cylinder engine. Not little, but you know, it's a relative to a V8. It's pretty impressive with the turbo and all that stuff. It really feels strong. And there's parking sensors back here as well, there in the black portion. So let's go ahead and start it up so we can hear the exhaust a little bit. Now it has the ability to have a quiet start in the settings. This is not the quiet start. It's a little bit loud. You can use the key to release the trunk, or you can press this button. It does the same thing either way. Just pops it up like that, releases it, and then you just lift it up. Has the installation there, emergency release. And the opening is a little small as far as getting things in and out, but the actual trunk space is fairly decent. Goes way in there, all the way to the left. And it's all carpeted here on the bottom. It does have a pretty good sized subwoofer back here as well. Now there is some exposed metal up here, and there is the seats that fold down. It's a 50-50 split, so you can add to your cargo space a little bit. Comes in handy, especially if you need to have like a long box or whatever. So under this is not a spare tire. It's a tire inflator kit. Now this has a high performance, you know, wheel and tire and braking system and all that stuff. So you'd have to have a pretty good size spare tire in here. So that might be the reasoning for this. But yeah, you can probably put one in here. You might just have to compromise some of your trunk space. Check it out. They put these different generations of Mustangs here. There's the older one, and then progressively goes to the newer one. So I guess the Fox body would be right in here. And then that would be the 90s, and then the noughties, and then up to today. Fuel door is here on the driver's side, and it's a non-locking fuel door. And it's also capless. To start it up, as long as you have the key inside the vehicle, you just press and hold the brake, and push this red candy-like button. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat, and the floor mat snaps in place unlike the other side. There's the sporty pedals, raised rubber aluminum pedals, nice big footrest as well. Let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there is a latch right here in the very center. It's in the bottom. You just reach in, move it to the left all the way, and it'll release the hood. You just lift it up. So basically you're just moving this all the way this way like that. And the hood holds itself up. Has insulation under it. You can see there's a seal across the front and there on the sides as well, and the back. So it's controlling the airflow, the noise. The suspension towers here on the front are braced together with that cross brace over the engine. So you notice it's a pretty good size 4-cylinder, and it's oriented this way. So this is the front of the engine, that's the back of the engine. And then you have the exhaust on this side with the turbo. And then there's your intake. And look at the airflow. You can see the amount of airflow this vehicle has going through the box here, flowing through the turbo, which is powered by the exhaust, of course. But yeah, pretty impressive size 4-cylinder engine. It's interesting. And it's definitely impressive to drive a vehicle like this, and doesn't even feel like a 4-cylinder when you really feel the power and the torque and everything. It's amazing. The blind spot detection and rear cross traffic alert system, the little indicator is here on the little tiny side mirror. And the driver's side door is basically just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. You have 3 presets there for the seat, and you have the power windows, which are 1 touch up and down. And then the side mirrors can be adjusted there. You just pick a side. You can adjust them with that little pad. The driver's seat is partially powered. The bottom portion is powered here, and then that 2-way lumbar adjustment, and then you have a manual adjustment there for the tilt of the back. Now this vehicle, this seat belt is constantly digging into my neck. It's like no matter where I put it, I can put it on the strap, I can take the strap off. It doesn't matter. I'm constantly having to hold the seatbelt with one hand and the steering wheel with the other as I'm driving it, because it does dig into my neck, and it's very uncomfortable. I think it's just the pressure. There's just a lot of pressure on this thing. It's a little bit more, and I've experienced it with other vehicles. Very rare, but this one is one of those type of vehicles. And I didn't experience that with other, like the GT and stuff, so I'm not sure what's going on. Here to the left of the steering column, you have the ability to pop up in the trunk. Headlight switch, you just turn it, and then you see little options there: off, parking, automatic headlights, and then headlights on. And there's the dimmer switch for the interior gauges. There's also a tilt and a telescoping steering column that you lock in place here. I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I'm 6 feet tall, and I have the driver's seat all the way back and all the way down to give you an idea of the potential legroom here. And this is too far back for me to drive. I could barely touch the pedals here. So if you're over 6 feet, should be no problem. And you basically have no room in the back seat anyway. So either way, it's not a big deal. So I would have to pull it up, you know, a good maybe 4 or 5 inches really for me to drive and push the accelerator and brake pedals safely and all that stuff. Now there's plenty of room here and here as well. I hadn't had any problems with you know, having my leg rest on anything that's uncomfortable. This is soft over here, but it's kind of angled this way, so it doesn't really get in the way anyway. So I think that's well done. The steering wheel is really nice looking. It has these little dimples here, stitching there on the inside, and it's not like a regular round steering wheel. It has a little contour to it. Flat here on the bottom. Very comfortable, and it gives in the hand in most areas, kind of rubbery soft in a way. And yeah, just very comfortable. Now down in here is kind of stiffer than other parts, but man, it is a really nice steering wheel. It looks good, feels good, very functional, and the grips are good. Like it doesn't have too much stuff in your way. You know, there's a spot here that gets in the way, but you know, where I usually hold the steering wheel, it's all open. Some vehicles have like different spokes in different places and just kind of gets in the way based on my normal driving habits. This one's absolutely fine. And also it has this textured carbon fiber look plastic that looks really good. It feels good, and you know, it does a good job of replicating, you know, if you're gonna have fake carbon fiber style, then this looks pretty good, and it's textured as well. So it does have the paddle shifters here on the back of the steering wheel, so when you put it in manual mode over here, you can use that to shift through the gear ratios if you'd like. So here on the left side, is the cruise control. One button, press that, it sets it, turns the system on and everything. Now you actually have two separate buttons. If you just want regular cruise control without the adaptive cruise control radar system, you can hit this button, but this turns on that, the adaptive cruise control, which is pretty much superior in most situations. It's just so much more convenient. And then lane keep assist system, you can turn it on here. You can set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, press this button. This mode right here is for changing through the drive modes, and this shows up on the screen. I'll get to it in just a second. And then you have you know, your pause and resume, you know, cancel and resume button for the cruise control here as well. Here on the right side is the volume for the radio. You can change to the tracks as well. You can also make selections here on the screen. So this up and down corresponds with this as well as the radio, and you can make selections here. And then you have the voice recognition. You also have this button for changing the steering feel. And once again, I'll show you that in a second because everything's on the screen. Wiper controls are here, and then the turn signal's there. And of course, your dimmer switch and everything is there as well. Okay, so this screen, very interesting. It has different views and a lot of different information on it, and it looks really well done. The resolution, the colors, everything is really well done. It's a little bit of a glare on my camera. I don't see it with my eyes, but the camera's picking up a glare. It is really, it is a gloss surface, but you can see it just fine in real life. Okay, so let's go over some of these buttons here. So the drive mode is right here. So when you go through the drive mode, when you select down, you can see everything goes away, and you have this big animation that's going on. So you have normal, you got sport, track, drag strip, slippery surfaces, and then a custom mode, which you can customize on the screen. And then it goes back to normal. Here on the right side, when we press this button to adjust the steering feel, it pops up here on the screen, and you have three different options. One is normal, one is lightweight, and one is more stiff for sportier steering. I prefer the lightweight. It's not really that light to begin with, but even in the light mode, so I prefer that. Alright, so let's go ahead and change the way this looks. So right now we have the tachometer here, engine coolant temperature, this right here showing the status of the lane keep assist system and the adaptive cruise control. On the right side, digital speedometer with a like analog style, fuel gauge here, and then in the center is just customizable information. Right now it's showing the trip. Also, you see these little icons right here. Those show the status of the system. So right now I got the steering set to feather light, the suspension is normal, and the exhaust is normal, and so you can actually quiet the exhaust. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. You can see it has a little speaker there that's turned off. So let's go ahead and change this view, and I'll show you how we do it on the screen in a second. Actually, I'll go ahead and show you now. Yeah, under my Mustang settings, which I have a shortcut here, you can go here to cluster theme. It'll actually show you here on the screen what it looks like. So you can match to drive mode, but let's cycle through them here. So this is normal, sport, and we can change the colors. I have it like pink and green and stuff like that, but you can change those colors. Track, that looks pretty cool. So it has the RPMs there at the top, the tachometer nice and big. That's the focus if you're on the track. And then a comm screen, which is kind of small and it's okay, I guess. But this is one of my favorites here. It's the Fox Body Mustang, 87 to 93 Fox Body Mustang look. So it gives you that traditional look. Now we still have the stuff in the center, which kind of disconnects a little bit from the original style. But because, you know, sometimes that center information has all kinds of different things like tire pressure and stuff. This is none of that you would have seen back in the day on a Fox Body, but it still gives you a pretty close similar view to the Fox Body. So let's go here to go back to normal here, and this button here, up and down, this is what I was doing to change that center information. So gauge detail, Mustang status, And that shows you, you know, the like quiet exhaust, that kind of stuff. Driver assistance, that's for lane keep assist system and adaptive cruise control, and then it goes back to your trips, trip 1 and trip 2, and then your fuel economy, tire pressure. All this stuff could be monitored here in the center. You just select the one you want. Everything's is in real time, so you can see that vacuum boost pressure or vacuum is showing up here. So this center screen, I think it could. I've had some issues with it being unresponsive. I had to restart the vehicle. I've had issues with the screen being blank and not working until I restart the vehicle. So probably like 1 out of 6, 1 out of 8 every 8 times I start the vehicle, it has an issue, an actual software issue. So they'll probably have to update this. And it'll probably work out all the kinks, and it, you know, it can update without you going to the dealership and stuff like that, so that's good. But the flow of the system, how you use it, is a little bit, it could be a little bit better, you know, because this is the home screen here, and it has the map, it has the Bluetooth, and it has the phone here. So this is basically the audio source here, and then there's your phone. And then you have settings, features, and apps. So this is the home screen. You notice you have some buttons down here for the climate control. Temperatures, seat control, seat has a heated and cooled seat system, and heated steering wheel as well. But you have to, if you make a selection, so let's go to the features tab. Now we have driver assistance, or we can go in there to settings, my Mustang, which is also controlled down here with this little Mustang here. You can edit your favorites, and then you can go to an owner's manual. But you notice there's no way right now to go to, say, the media, right? Or the navigation or anything like that. You have to go back to the home button in order to get this. So wherever you're at, you have to go back. There's always an additional step. There's not like there's no constant forward motion. It's like back and forth to use the system. Not a huge deal once you get used to it, but it could be designed a little bit better where there's not to where there's a little bit of more redundancy to where you can get to places without going back and forth, right? So let's look at the settings here. Also the sidebar here, you notice this is kind of in the way sometimes. It's covering up some of the tiles here. Now on the navigation map, you can make it go away. Once again, we have to go back. The apps, it's basically talking about Android Auto, Apple CarPlay type stuff. Let's go to the navigation map here, and now you can hit that to make that sidebar go away, which is good. You can do searches and all that stuff here, pick favorites. You can also zoom in and out, that kind of stuff. And it has a really good map system. It looks good, it's clear, you know, very well done, day or night. There's the different options here. Let's go back to the home button, and then let's get the audio sources here. AM, FM, satellite radio, and Bluetooth. And once again, we have that little sidebar there, which can come in handy, but sometimes it gets in the way. And then your phone, you can connect multiple phones, and it'll work on a priority system based on the ones you have set priority over the others. And the climate control, when you hit this, it pops up here on the screen, and you can make selections. But you notice it's not everything on the screen. The fan speed is still down here. Still pop. You have to hit that. Oh no, that's not it. Next to it. There we go. Now it pops up, and now you can control it here. Seat controls pops up. You control it here. And every time I hit it, it turns on. Which is probably a good thing, because that's usually why you want to touch it. But fan speed, and it also has automatic climate control. There's 3 stages, so you can have it low, medium, or high. And let's bring it back down a little bit lower so it won't be so loud. Front rear defrosters are here, and then of course the passenger stuff is going on. And there's the outside temperature. Clock is right here. Clock should be a little bit bigger, I would say. And maybe, you know, here on the screen somewhere, a large, maybe an additional tile or something like that. But the fact that it's in the same spot is good. So even if you go into different screens, the clock is always there. There we navigation screen is still there. Okay, so let's go into My Mustang, which is the little button down here, or you saw it under features. We hit that, and that's a whole nother menu system here. Looks completely different. And this is where you'll find your track apps. And just gonna, this is where you can do acceleration timers, all kinds of different ones here. You also have brake performance, and then a lap timer. Now, it also has line lock, and line lock is where it keeps the vehicle still by holding the front brakes, so you can spin tires to heat up the tires, basically. But it has this drift brake. So I have to mention something. Before I explain that, this handbrake is not a manual. Like if you lift up on it, it's just got a spring. It just feels springy, right? It doesn't have the ratcheting. It doesn't have the button on the end. It's basically just an electric button, but you're using it as a handbrake, right? So you lift up on it to engage the rear wheels, and then you hold the brake, and then you push down like this to release the brake. So it's completely different from a regular handbrake. So it's just electronic, right? And the reason why I mention that is because it has this drift brake feature here, and the drift brake will allow you to use the handbrake in different ways. So you can use it, depends on your needs. So when you enable the drift brake, you can perform handbrake turns or initiate a drift by pulling up on the handle and turning the steering wheel at the same time. So you're able to use this handbrake in a different way than just a regular parking brake. And so yeah, it's a little bit different, and I guess it has its uses. And it also has that feel that people are familiar with. It's you lift up on it and it engages. So let's go to the auxiliary gauges, and you have this little button to toggle, so you can toggle different views, one or the other. You can also go in here to the settings and adjust what you want. So right now it's showing the engine oil temperature, accelerometer, which is a G-force meter, and the air-fuel ratio. So if that's what we want, we can keep that. But if we want to change that, let's say we want to change this to the accelerometer, engine oil temperature, battery voltage, vacuum boost, transmission oil temperature, whatever we want here, we can choose that. And then we can, customize the screen, and add and subtract whatever we want, basically, or change each dial to the ones that we want. So that's pretty cool, and it gives you additional information there, visually represented instead of just numbers here. All right, let's go back out of that. Now you have a custom mode that you can set up. Profiles are here, up to 6, and then you have normal. So this is the drive mode. Sport, race, track, slippery. The suspension system, it just shows normal. Like there's no other options here. Comfort is normal, sport, and comfort as far as the steering. And then traction control, you can have that on or off in this profile. You can have the exhaust quiet, sport, or track. Track is significantly louder. Just keep that on normal. You can turn the auto stop start feature off when you have it in profile 1. That's really good. And then you have the gauges. You can choose which gauges you want. You can set up different profiles. You just make that selection and it changes everything to what you've already, preset up. Colors. So this is where you have displays and then you have ambient lighting. So the displays, like I had pink and green, we'll change that to blue, and we'll go blue and yellow. All right, so now here on the screen we have a combination of blue and yellow on the displays, both that one and this one. Now the ambient lighting, this is what you would see like in the floorboard and the doors and stuff like that. We can adjust the brightness and we can change the color. And I show that in the night video if you want to check it out. Can't really see anything during the day as far as those colors. And then we already saw the custom screen here for this over here, the gauges. So over here we have the exhaust mode. So we have the quiet, normal, sport, and track. So it seems like these are basically the same, but it's a different. I like the quiet, especially it has the ability to go into your settings and make it to where it'll start up quiet, because it's kind of loud when it first starts up. If you like it loud, then you can just leave it on there. Okay, so down here we saw the start button. This is the volume for the radio. You can also turn it off as well. The stop start feature, or idle stop, you can turn it off, which I normally do because it's really annoying. This is the shortcut to go to the when you hit that, it goes to this screen, my Mustang screen, which all the track stuff and all that stuff. Traction control, you can turn it off here. Default is on. 4-way flashers are here. This is a customizable button, which I have it set up to change the exhaust mode to quiet, because when I first start the vehicle, it's loud, so then I hit that button and makes it quiet, and then you have the front defroster. And it's surrounded by all this. I like the way it has this little ledge right here, so you can kind of rest your finger and make selections. Really well done. Same thing with this little ledge here with the screen. Sometimes you're reaching out and you want to steady your arm, especially if you're driving. This little ledge here and here is good, and it's all textured with that carbon fiber style. Okay, so there's USB ports, 12-volt power supply. See, it's a USB-C and USB-A. There's a wireless charger here, and it actually works pretty good. I can actually put my phone with the case here and charge the phone, and it does a pretty good job. Holds it in place nicely, and it actually charges it with the case on. Now, you might have a passenger. Well, they can put their phone here. So you have two places to kind of put phones here. And let's say you just don't want to charge your phone, you can put it there, and it keeps it in a good spot. And also, this is rubberized. You can take this out, clean it, put it back in, and it has this little Mustang silhouette here on the underside. Okay, so here's a shifter, and it's kind of like old school, I guess, but it feels a little plasticky, I guess. But the gears don't light up at night. That's kind of a spoiler for the night video. There's a few things on this vehicle that's kind of surprising. Let's go ahead and put it in reverse, because I really do like the backup camera. It looks good, the clarity's excellent, the resolution's excellent, the visibility's good, and you also have the parking sensors active, and the rear cross traffic alert as well. Active guidelines, so as I turn the steering wheel, it shows the center line there as well as the path of the vehicle. And I did a test on another vehicle, and those lines appeared to be the width of the vehicle with the side mirrors included. So that's usually, that's what I've measured before. It's probably the same thing with this vehicle as well. So there's neutral, drive, and then there's a manual mode there for using the paddle shifters, and you'll know what gear you're in because it'll show right here. So if we want to increase this gears, we can do that. It gives us a limit on how far we can go out of range though. There's cup holders. Has a little chrome accent, little arms here to hold in bottles and stuff. It does have a plastic bottom. Really, I mean, you can clean it out and everything, but it'd be nice to have some kind of rubberized, because sometimes you put something in there that's not a cup, and it's like sliding around, It's very, hard plasticky in there. Okay, so this is the armrest, and it's nice and soft. And this lifts up, and it's spring-loaded. It flips up like so. You can put a little pin or a tire gauge there. And it has this compartment. It has a little light in it. 12-volt power supply. I got my business cards in the way. But yeah, nothing really special. It does have some coin holders in there, but it's just like a little junk drawer. Now there is a place for wires to go in and out of the compartment here. The rearview mirror is an auto dim rearview mirror, and you can tell it's auto dimming right now because I have this shade over the light sensor, which is here on the right side back here. These are tap lights, so you just tap on the lens and you can turn on individual reading lights. You can turn on all the interior lights by pressing this button. It's a toggle switch. Press it to the left, all in lights turn on. You can all off to the right even when you open the door, or if you want the door to activate the lights, you can put it in a center position where it's flush. Put some shades in here, and it has it's like a felt lining on the inside, even in this area here. All that's felt lined, even here on the sides, everywhere. Some vehicles have it like a foam or a felt lining just here, but not here. It's kind of interesting. This one's completely covered. So the visors are a black cloth, very similar to, they're exactly like the headliner here. There's a little clip there, mirror with lights. It does have the home link garage door opener control. Actually push the button. It's trying to send a signal now, but it also slides over. Not the best coverage in the world because it's kind of small, but it's okay. Basically a very similar thing going on over there on the passenger side. Visibility is actually pretty dang good because you have those pillars there, but you got these little windows, and compared to like a Challenger or whatever, this is like way better. You can see out pretty good. No headrest to get in the way and all that stuff. It has little hooks there on that pillar. Hang some clothes or whatever. I wish the seat belts were adjustable, but it's a little bit of an issue for me. So this screen kind of gets some fingerprints on it, as you can tell. I wiped it before I demonstrated the screen. Now it's covered in fingerprints. But if you have a cloth handy, then you can just wipe it. And unlike some vehicles, even when it's on like this, you can wipe it down and it doesn't just automatically start pressing every button on the screen. Apparently it knows when it's being wiped or something. So normally I drive this vehicle with the exhaust note in the quiet mode. But just for demonstration, I'll put it on the exhaust so you can hear it a little bit better. It's not overly loud. It's just, you know, it's a 4-cylinder, so it's to me, I don't really care for the exhaust notes. It sounds cool, but you know, if it was a V8, it has like a different rumble, you know, and they're trying to go for that, but it's a 4-cylinder. So yeah, the exhaust has that growl to it, you know, which is kind of cool. But it gets, me personally, you know, just normally driving, I would just have it on quiet. It actually has quiet, then normal, and then sport, then track. And track and sport seem to be very similar. Going too fast here. Forgot this is a 45 zone. Even though the speed limit is showing down here at 55. The roadside detection system, sometimes it'll visually see a sign, sometimes it'll try to go by the navigation system, which might not be right. Put some gauges up there. Kind of surprised this vehicle has the stop start feature. I get maybe that's mandated or whatever, but shouldn't be on a vehicle like this. Once you start having fun, you reach the speed limit. But yeah, as a daily, as just driving it without, you know, having fun with it, which that's the point of this type of car, just kind of normal driving, it's, other than the seatbelt issue, it seems to be pretty good. The seats are actually pretty comfortable, and the steering is tight. The braking is incredibly strong. The acceleration is impressive, especially when you're considering it's a 4-cylinder. And of course, it looks good. It, you know, it definitely catches people's eye. This color's kind of, you know, it's not an eye-popping color, you know, but people still check this car out because it does look good. The style is nice, and you know, people are attracted to Mustangs in general, but this particular style, I think, is really modern looking and looking really good. I have had some issues with the center screen over here, where it was non-responsive and I had to turn the vehicle off and turn it back on. Also, there's been several times in which I start the vehicle and the screen is just black. There's just nothing there. And once again, I have to stop the car, restart the car, and then it'll turn back on. So there's definitely some software issues that needs to be upgraded. They'll probably do some updates on that to make it a little bit better. But yeah, it's probably like, you know, 1 out of every 6 times I start the car, there's some kind of glitch with this system over here. So it's fairly common. I was kind of surprised. Once again, once we start having fun, the speed limit. So yeah, out on the open highway, you can hear a little bit of noise back there. Now it could be the exhaust, but let's go ahead and put it in quiet mode. Yeah, that's not the exhaust, it's some other road noise or whatever. So that's the quiet mode exhaust. The lane keep assist system is interesting because it sees the lines, but it doesn't really keep you in the center of the road. It's not that type of system. But it's weird though, when I went around some real sharp turns, I can feel the steering wheel really hugging and following the lane. But just open road like this, it seems to wander around. It doesn't keep you in the center of the lane. So it's kind of like non-aggressive in this type of situation, but then very aggressive sometimes in cornering. So that could be to try to keep from fighting with you while you're driving, you know, because some vehicles are too aggressive on the lane keep assist system and they kind of fight with you sometimes. So this kind of gives you the leeway while you're, you know, just cruising on an open road like this, to not, you know, not try to hold in a very specific position. That's my guess, you know. It feels a little bit different than a regular lane keep assist system. It's because of that inconsistency there, where this open road like this, like I let go of the steering wheel, it's basically just going to go almost to the edge of the road, and then it'll kind of bounce back a little bit. But when I was cornering, I can feel the steering really aggressively, you know, following that road. But so yeah, pretty interesting. Definitely holding the high revs. takes a while for it to come back down. These Fox Body Mustang gauges down here. It's pretty cool that they added that to the list here. This comm screen is, it's like it's just basically a little tiny thing. It'd be better if it was just bigger, you know, but it's a little bit too small and too diminutive. I guess the whole idea is for it to be small and since it's calm, but it doesn't match the vehicle. I like the other clusters. Normal's pretty good. It looks very modern. Sport also looks modern, you know, has an aesthetic look to it that's kind of neat. Track is really cool. It definitely makes it look like you're on a track, you know. Focus on the RPMs and stuff like that. And the Fox Body Mustang, that's just a little neat feature to tack on, which I think is great.